She's as iconic to us Aussies as meat pies or the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And if you can believe it, has been entertaining us all for more than 2 decades. Now Delta Goodrem is celebrating a brand new album, a book and a tour.
Yeah, and we are lucky enough to have Delta Goodrem in the building today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. It's so lovely to be here with you guys.
It's awesome that you're here. Where do we even start? I mean, you're already one of the busiest people we know. How do you find time to get a new album, book and a tour?
Yep. In good news, the album book felt like one thing for me. Like it felt like a cohesive piece because the book really is an extension of the album. It's about that tactile feeling of when you used to like get a booklet that would explain about what the songs were about, why you wrote them, the kind of details and the different separate branches that go to each sort of train of thought. And so the book was sort of naturally wrote itself with the album.
I love this. How is Bridge Over Troubled Dreams different to your past music and albums?
It's funny because the other day I was thinking about, every album definitely symbolises chapters and we talk about our life of our books, all of our lives. And every album has been its authentic version of where I was at in that time. And this one was just a whole new process of producing it, writing it, doing everything myself. And that was a real challenge in the sense that, yes, I've always had my fingerprints and it's been truly my craft my entire life. But this one, I definitely learnt more in sort of the process and going back to just completely live music, making every instrument, getting a great player in, choosing it in the moment. You can't change it later if you've done it live. And it was about, I guess, having a moment where I wanted to sort of tell myself to have the freedom to not chase anything, not do anything, just be an artist and make the music that I love to make and be inspired by the artists I'm inspired by and own my story in the kind of lyrics, and that was my goal.
I love all of that. And speaking of artists you're inspired by, I got my brand new copy of the book, which I love. And I love that you go through the explanations for all the songs. So I went straight to Dear Elton because I thought that's got to be about someone we all know, right?
Yes.
And it's about Elton John.
Yeah.
And a connection that you 2 had, but you feel also you kind of missed out on something. Tell us about it. Yeah, it's a fascinating tale.
It's definitely layered, the Elton John song, and then hence why there's dramatic piano instrumental in the middle of it, and I'm going to town on sort of allowing that kind of madness to happen, and that. Basically, it's just talking about Elton John was one of the very first people to ever reach out to me as a young artist when I first broke into the industry, and then he was the first person to reach out when I'd been diagnosed with cancer, one of the very first people who called on my first day of chemo and said, on behalf of Britain, we are thinking of you. And,
Wow.
And then it kind of talks into the different choices I made just after that moment in my life and how you're learning as you go and just sort of checking in with the piano going, am I getting this, have I gotten it right? Did I, maybe, about finally arriving in who you are, and I'm proud of who I am now. It wouldn't change if it's that beautiful story between somebody who you reflect as such a master in your field.
Have you sent it to him?
I have, yes.
Did you sign it?
Yeah.
Have you had a reaction?
Well, I definitely, when I wrote the song, I sent it and just said, listen, I had something on my heart and I thought it would be lovely to share. And he sent back a very beautiful, going straight to the pool room, it's just going straight to the pool room, that one.
I think it's amazing because it's great, for a fan of yours, it's great, but also for kind of aspiring and budding musicians to kind of get an idea of where it all comes from. These are all the things that we want to know as well as the songs. So I think it's perfect.
I think, I'm still learning as I go. I've got, so much more to sort of find, explore, but definitely when it came to, some lessons learned, I'd hope that in both of the music and the book it would be takeaways for your own life, because once you do your music or your craft, it's everybody else's. I'm I'm looking forward to the fact that it's out, so I'm like, it's not mine anymore, it's everybody else's, it's everyone's.
And this album really is full of a lot of strength and power.
Yeah,
I love that.
For sure.
Where'd that come from?
It's really important to have, it's like when we do the tours, it's important to have the arc of the story. We've got to have fun, we've got to laugh, we've got to cry, we've got to go through all the different emotions as humans and shared experiences. So Yeah, there's a song in there called "The Power," which I do that because that's power. There's this bit that says, "We've got the power," and so everybody gets it.
But you actually have got the power, because if you look back at your life and you look back at those 2 decades, and you have lived so much life, even just bringing up before, you're battling cancer and getting through that, moving overseas. You've had so much going on, and here you are, this beautiful, accomplished woman with this incredible new album and story to tell.
You're very, very kind. You know, everyone's got their story, and I have been honoured to get to do what I love to do, and it's, of course, it's got its many different highs and lows, and just kind of find yourself in the middle of it all. And I know that I was born to do what I get to do, and I love that, and I treasure that, and I don't take that for granted. So
you talk a little bit about why you believe you were born to do what you were born to do. That's a story that no one's ever heard.
No,
the story Crash.
For sure. No, I think that it was funny because when the reset happened, when we went through, you know, getting deep and meaningful here today.
That's what we do.
Cheaper than therapy. Much cheaper.
I may as well share it with everyone. What's new? But when I went through the reset of going through the paralysis in my speech, I had that moment of going back to the very beginning, and when I went back to the very start, of course, I was speaking, and I said, well, you know, actually it started from, I was actually born from a car crash, and I realised I hadn't written that story in a song, and the lyrics were so important to get right for a, you know, a hopeful song as well, and saying I've got faith in the front seat, hope by my side, asking for the angels who listen when we cry. From that day, made me a fighter all my life. I've got faith in the front seat and hope by my side. And so it was this, you know, beautiful song for my mama, and obviously I don't remember it, but she has shared the story as has my dad. And so I thought that maybe after all these years of sharing other stories, that I asked my parents' permission if I could share this one.
Well, that's it. You're giving so much to everybody now this year. What's happening for you this coming year, 2021? What's the bucket list?
Yeah, you know what? I think just continuing to be creative, and I'm enjoying just having that freedom to have fun with creating with all of it. But the performances at the end of the year are what I am looking forward to. That really is my, like, getting to see people in person and actually sing the songs, sing the old ones. The fact that hopefully, you know, everybody will be back to, because concerts are the last thing for us, and that idea is really what I'm looking forward to the most.
Speaking of performances, madam, we were watching the Brit Awards a bit earlier this week, and someone we know very well popped up singing a Dua Lipa song. Are you two buddies? What happened? How did that come about?
Definitely, in my mind, we are definitely very good friends. We're actually besties. No, I'm a huge fan. And when I was asked to quickly sort of do one of the songs that was nominated, I chose her because I just love all of the music. I think it's great.
What about the pressure of that, though? And you just absolutely knocked it out of the park.
Oh, no, thank you, thank you. You know what, these videos from home are next level, you know, these kind of continue. It's so good to be in a studio and everybody actually, where you're not setting up lights.
Well, that's the professionals do it here.
The professionals
they do a great job.
It's tools down by me.
It's actually nice to have you home as well, because you've been home since the pandemic began. Are you loving that?
That was actually interesting about going back into the book. I realised the theme of how much I talked about, because I love Australia more than anything. And I was definitely realised reading about it, I was like, oh, I definitely talk about it a lot in my songs. Like there's a song called Play saying, you know, talking about home. There's a song called All My Friends. And I was saying I was missing my friends. And I definitely am thankful on that respect that we're in the most beautiful country in the world and that we're here. So this has been the longest I've been here for years and years and years. So that's a real blessing for sure.
This book is such a treat to have something like this going with an album. Back in the olden days when I was young, we used to buy the album covers to read the liner notes to figure out what's going on. This is like liner notes on steroids.
100%.
Because we actually get to know everything about all that fantastic
They thought I wouldn't,
music.
you know, keep getting these tactile things. I'm like, no, I'll just get more books. Every album, I'll go to the back catalogue of songs. I'll be like, right, it was nice. It was back in.
That is so brilliant.
I love it.
Well, Delta Goodrum's 6th studio album, Bridge Over Troubled Dreams, is out today. And for all tour and book details, you can head to the website deltagoodrum.com. So nice having you in, lady. Come and visit us anytime.
Thank you. I will. I will.
The lights are always ready to go.
Oh, good. Oh, do you allow some videos we can make? Cheers, yeah.
Speak to Herman, he'll sort you out. Stay with us. You're watching Studio 10. More to come after the break.
In 2 years, see,